Good morning. It is the first day of the month of February 2022, and all too soon. Is it soon actually? January has ended, and we've entered a new month. A lot of people are excited because people claim January is the longest month of the 12 months we have in all the calendar years. You know, I think it's because of the fact that by the end of December, people have squandered their salaries, and then because January has 31 days, it's like a long walk to end, to the end of the month in order to get your salary. But of course, it has finally ended. We've entered February. People say February is the month of love, and well, it's just like any other month to some of us. The love bit, the 14th February bit there, I think some people celebrate it. Fine, that's okay. But to some of us, it's just another month. But whilst you are excited that January has ended, you should also bear in mind that we've already done one out of the 12 months in the year 2022. I'm sure most of you started the year with New Year resolutions. We've already done 1 month, so we have 11 more. Have you started making steps, or have you started taking steps to achieving the goals that you have set for 2022? If you haven't, it is high time you started, because Charlie, there's no time. And we are live from our studios at number 48 Swanika Street in Abiling. But this, of course, is the newspaper review segment of the morning show, Good Morning Africa. I'm sitting in once again for Kwame Usudan, who is unable to be here for some other special reasons, and hopefully when the tide settles, he'll come back and then assume his seat and his position as the main host of the show. But for now, I'm in charge. I'm privileged to be joined in the studios by Hajia Hamdatu. Hajia has presidential ambitions, and but before that, she'd have to win the primaries on the ticket of the Convention People's Party.
And I'm winning, don't worry.
Yes, so she's here with me. She's joined me in the studios. So has Saka. I've spotted Saka, who is late. He's becoming habitual late comer. He's gaining notoriety in as far as lateness is concerned. And it's high time I started charging him for that. All right, Haja, good morning.
Good morning.
It's a delight to have you here. And I want to, before we start the show, I want to commend you for the fact that you don't joke with this program. And I'm not firing salvos at anybody, but the fact that you come here by 7, sometimes as early as 6 something, you're already here.
Yes, where I live, it's a traffic prone zone, and then I don't like coming to program late like my brother. Where I'm staying now, I'm closer, because of the overpass. I think apart from maybe
after you descend,
that's where the problem is. If not, and then you have to calculate the time.
Exactly.
So at times I come here very early.
Yeah.
At times you start driving and then there's no traffic.
Exactly.
So that's why today I got here very early. Less than 20 minutes I was here.
You were here.
And at times it takes me 1 hour.
1 hour to be here.
So that's how it is. And then it's a program that we don't joke with.
It's true. It's true. I agree fully with with what you said. The fact that sometimes you can time it. Okay, by this time there'll be traffic. There'll be no traffic. Like it happens to me too. Sometimes you leave home so early, and you realize that there's not a single traffic. Yeah, but Charlie, it's
so at times I ask myself, I say, oh, why are all the crack vehicles on the road or what? And then sometimes I ask myself, where are all the vehicles?
Exactly. But it's better to be a minute. It's better to be 2 hours early than to be a minute late.
But now the area that has the heaviest traffic is the Medina
stretch,
East Legon Road. It's the traffic is horrendous.
Saka says it is his area. Saka, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome.
The
traffic situation,
Yeah, I mean it's terrible. It's terrible.
What should be done? What can be done to ease it?
I don't know.
I'm asking Saka.
For now, well, I mean this is an engineering question. But the only thing that we can do now is to get some other
routes.
Yeah, routes within. For instance, if you are coming from East Legon, the Shashi area, it's always the problem. I mean, everybody is converged from Medina, Adenta, Oyerefa, everywhere. Everybody is converging at
Maybe I
Shashi.
think it's
Those
called
going
it's
to
population
Tema, those-
growth
yes,
within the urban
Everybody.
area.
So there should be some way that you can link to even the motorway.
Exactly. You know, that side is
telling-
like the middle.
I was telling
Yes.
somebody that in 1986 we're going to Medina. Then you can count the number of cars on the road. It was even a single lane. Now we have how many lanes?
Like 3.
3.
That's
Still
3,
the
yeah.
traffic, so which means it's just the population growth.
Yeah.
And people maybe having all their businesses centered in the center
capital,
of
yeah.
the capital, which is some kind of disadvantage.
Exactly. Because when you look
If
at
something can be done, you know, the other day somebody was saying, then forestry, what do they want in Accra? It should be somewhere in the
Axim
western
area,
yeah, you know,
yeah.
maybe decentralization,
Yeah.
proper decentralization. If not, even at times if you are going to the ministries,
Yeah.
from National Theatre to the ministries, you'll be
That's a
stuck there.
short distance. You
You'll
can
be
even
stuck
walk.
there.
Yeah. That's true. That's
Well,
very,
good
very
morning.
true.
to our viewers.
So the traffic situation is just terrible.
I don't know, maybe
Some of us had to use Takashi to come here.
Come here, yeah.
so many,
Yeah,
so
if I
many
were
cars
if
on
I
the
were
road.
to follow the normal route, I don't think that
You'd be here
within
by
the
now.
next 2 hours I will still be here.
Right, right. Here are the topics that we'll be discussing for this morning's show. AU suspends Burkina Faso after coup. So yesterday we heard that Ecowas had suspended them from all their institutions, and AU, the African Union, they have followed suit. Public debt climbs up, records 344.5 billion Ghana cedi. That story was taken from the Economic Times. We are fighting against corruption with systems, not rhetoric. That's from Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And rip-off ISSER report reveals how Ghana lost $8 billion from undervaluation of gold exports in 8 years. That story was taken from the Insight newspaper. Without further ado, without wasting much time, because time is already far gone, let's begin with our African story. Burkina Faso, our northern neighbors, where, of course, we know there was a coup d'etat. Roch Kabore has been deposed as the president of that particular country. There's a new military regime. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, they issued a release that they had suspended them from all of their institutions. We saw our own president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who is the chairman of ECOWAS, and he chaired that virtual meeting where sanctions were placed on Burkina Faso. The African Union, of which Burkina Faso is also part, they have followed in the footsteps of ECOWAS, and they have suspended Burkina Faso as well. Let me read excerpts of the story as captured here in the Daily Graphic newspaper. It says, the African Union has suspended Burkina Faso a week after a faction of the army announced the removal of President Roch Kabore as envoys from West Africa in the United Nations head for talks with the coup leaders. The AU's 15-member Peace and Security Council yesterday said it had voted to suspend Burkina Faso's participation in all AU activities until the effective restoration of constitutional order in the country. Musa Faki Mahamat, who chairs the AU's commission, had already condemned the coup shortly after it happened on January 23. The AU's move came 3 days after the Economic Community of West African State ECOWAS regional bloc suspended Burkina Faso from its ranks and warned of possible sanctions pending the outcome of meetings with the coup makers, who have dissolved the government and parliament and suspended the constitution, pledging to re-establish constitutional order within reasonable time. So this is the story as captured by the Daily Graphic newspaper. Ajia, it's, you know, the coups are becoming one too many. Mali, Guinea, now we have Burkina Faso. And all of these coups d'etats in West Africa.
Good morning to our cherished viewers out there, and then good morning to my co-panelists, and then your good self. The coup in Burkina Faso, I don't really understand, because for me, if people are not happy with the leadership of a country and we are in a democracy, the best alternative or the best thing one can do is to vote that leadership out of power. Because I think if we go back to our history in West Africa, you know, I think Ghana, we were the torchbearers of coups that affected Nigeria and then other countries in the sub-region. Then we asked ourselves, after the coup, what happened? I think we've gone back so many years when it comes to our developmental or economic development. So I don't know why. We're just talking about Mali and Guinea, and then before, we'll just say Jack, Burkina Faso. And I don't know, Burkina Faso, whether Kabore wanted to change the constitution, because normally, when there is an attempt to change the constitution or to amend the constitution to suit the government in power, that is where normally you hear coups and so on and so forth. And people are talking about cost of living, lack of jobs, and what have you. But I think, will the military junta be able to give youth jobs? In democracy, there's freedom of expression. You can express your view. You can even people insult presidents. People make videos and insult people, if not because of politics. They cannot even come close to them.
Yeah.
But we tolerate everything. So why the coup? Why the coup? Now you are saying you are going to the country will soon return back to constitutional rule. What business do you have to come and overthrow a democratic elected government? That's what I'm saying. Bless me, I believe in democracy. No matter how difficult it is, we nurture our democracy and then be able to get what we want, even if we cannot get 100%. Because this military juntas, they will come and say the civilian president is not doing well, the government is corrupt. What? Before you realize, they are even worse. We've seen it in this country. They are even worse. We can remember probity and accountability. What have you? What didn't we see? After the revolution, what happened? People turned to civilian and then even sold most of the industries, factories that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah built. So for me, the soldiers have no business to take over power. They are supposed to protect our territory, not to come and lord over us. If you want to be a president, then remove your military attire. This coup in West Africa is a bit of a problem. Now, if you are saying Kabore was doing something that you don't like, my brother, I don't know when he was elected. Is it 2019 or something? So it's 4 years, 4 years. Very soon, you can change the government. You can change the government. And you see, Ecowas and AU, as soon as there's a military takeover, they'll say, oh, sanctions. And I don't know what, you know, we used to have ECOMOC, isn't it? The military, this thing. So why don't we do it in such a way that anybody taking over arms, please, should be sent back to the barracks? Because if you say we are going to negotiate with them, we are going to talk to them, and they will come and tell you when they want to hand over power. What do you think they are going to do within the time that they are also in power? So for me, it's not just suspension. I think everything, if we have a Burkina Faso ambassador, he should be sent home.
Should be sent home.
He should be sent home. Because I think if we are treating them with kids' gloves, that is why Guinea, then Mali, it was Mali first, then Guinea, then Burkina Faso, just our neighbors.
Yeah.
Just here. And I think leadership too, West African and for that matter, African leaders, if presidents are not doing the right thing, like what we used to have the peer review mechanism, that you kind of interact with your leadership in the sub-region or in the Africa, to say, oh, maybe the A, B, C, D that you are doing that is not. But you see, we sort of pamper coup makers. And then pamper presidents who have tempered with their constitution. So Other people think that, oh, it's easy. When we do it, they'll just place some sanctions, and if they see that our people are suffering, they will leave the sanctions. I'm not sure it is a welcome news at all in the sub-region. We need to develop as a country, as a continent, and as a sub-region. We are talking about one currency till today. We've not seen the currency. We are not trading amongst ourselves very well. And then just coup. When can we come out of this? Because our youth are suffering, no jobs. So what can we do that will inure to the benefit of the ordinary citizens in our country? Instead of doing that, we're talking about, we are just having coups every day. Every day. It is now that maybe foreign, if I say foreign, maybe this US and then France soldiers will not come in. If they come, do you know what they do? Do you know what they do? At your blind side, they are doing other things. So please, Burkina Faso, you know, the Gombes and Moshi people, since we are the grandparents, we should try and bring sanity into the country. Because now I'm sure the government has been suspended, constitution, I'm sure even media houses, nobody can talk. Those who are saying that we are suffering, we don't want the government, now you cannot even air your views. Because military there is military. Military is military.
It's military.
And it started near Ghana because Po is not far from Paga, if you know the map up there. It's most unfortunate. We are praying for peace in the sub-region, in Africa, and in the world at large. Yeah, I don't... The inertia is setting in. In fact, the coups are too many.
Too many.
We are talking about coups every day.
Every day, every single day. Right, thank you very much. Haja, let me come to Saka.
Yeah, Blaise, thank you very much. Let me also take this opportunity to wish my co-panelists and to wish the MPP, and to say good morning to the MPP fraternity, especially the president and then the vice president. Yeah, Blaise, you know, Ecowas, we have 50 member states. And currently, as we are speaking, we have 12. Because 3 of them are already under suspension. Guinea, Mali, and Burkina Faso. Owing due to the fact that they decided to do coups. I mean, if you look at what is happening within the Sahel region, it is as a result of the fact that they have not embraced democracy the way it's supposed to be. When we talk of coup, any country, there is no country in the world that you can do coup and not get justification. Every coup, everybody can get justification for it. Even the most democratic nations, the United States of America, one can do coup and say that they are not handling the COVID situation well. You can do coup and say that they have borrowed so much, about 29 billion, a trillion, and all that. Anywhere in the world, anytime you do coup and you succeed, you can always get reason for it, because we are human beings and we are being governed by human beings, and human beings are without flaws. You can't say that there's a government that do not have flaws. You would definitely have problems one way or the other. And therefore, if somebody decides that, okay, we will use one of your shortcomings as justification to overthrow the government, I think that these people must not be tolerated. My point has always been that we have over-tolerated coup makers. Even if we look at the constitution of Ghana, we celebrate them. The transitional provision of the constitution. They said that, oh, we should not touch them. What happened in the past? No, let us not even go there. We decided not to, to even celebrate them. It's sort of us bringing an entrenched clause within the constitution, and to even say that if there should be a coup and the constitution is even suspended, the coup makers will still have questions to answer. And in most of these cases, it is always very difficult for the sovereignty, the country itself, the sovereign nation itself, to take action against coup makers. And that is the reason why international law must come in. You submit your laws, especially certain clauses, to the dictate of international law. By saying that anytime there is a coup, we expect the AU or the Ecowas to try these people for the offense of treason. Because after our constitution, it will be suspended and all that. So, I mean, we should have some innovative means of making coup a high-risk venture. But as it is now, any Tom, Dick, and Harry, any non-entity can just come and do coup, profess some reasons for it. For instance, the Burkina coup, for instance, they say that, oh, because of the jihadist activities, there is insecurity, and so we are taking over power. So somebody can come and say, oh, economic reasons. Somebody can say corruption. I mean, is there a nation in the world that you won't see an iota of corruption? You will definitely see one or two, because we are human beings. And therefore, even if you look at even our constitution itself, the constitution is not so dormant. The constitution already foresaw that we are in a community of human beings. And therefore, people will do the unthinkable. And therefore, the constitution itself professes certain solutions. So even if it's a president, and you think that the president has sat on his job, or is incompetent, or he has brought the nation into disrepute, or whatever that you want to say, there are remedies that the constitution provides. You can impeach. I mean, if you go to Article 69, you can impeach the president. If it's any other person, there are ways and means of ensuring that we get redress. And that is the reason why I started by saying that these people have not embraced democracy the way it is. They've actually embraced part of democratic rule. And therefore, when they see situations that they think are not good enough, the first thing that comes to their mind is to overthrow the government, not how to use the constitution to seek redress. And that is the reason why Ghana, I don't even think that there's somebody who thinks of coup these days, apart from the early 60s. That one we know that it was because of nationhood and then the exigencies of the time. To the extent that at that time, you know, I don't want to go there, but I mean, there were certain reasons. For instance, I mean, if the whole nation wants something and then the constitution itself cannot provide it, that is where the whole nation itself can decide that, okay, let's go this way. But not some few people who will just take the gun, go and hide somewhere, shoot and kill one or two people, take over power, and start dictating and start talking. And all of a sudden, they become some demigods, they become some knowledgeable people who can transform the economy, or who can transform the security, and now sit and dine with the big shots. And they can now dictate when to hand over power. Look at what is happening in Mali. They have asked that you should return the nation to constitutional rule. And then you say that, oh, after 4 years. So they have already voted for themselves. They have already given themselves one term. So the next 4 years, it will be their second term that they will now go to the people. So, I mean, it is a joke. I think that, fortunately or unfortunately, we are housing Ecowas now. Let me praise the president for his relentless efforts that he has put in ensuring that anytime we had these coups, even today, I think today or tomorrow, there will be another Ecowas summit in Accra here. The president has always led the way. He himself has always, led the charge and ensured that wherever he needs to go, he leads the delegation to go. And they have never missed words in ensuring that they suspend those recalcitrant nations. I mean, I will use recalcitrant because when the Mali situation happened and then the sanctions were placed, their accounts were frozen and all that, instead of the citizens themselves to agitate for return to constitutional rule, they were rather, venting their spleen on Ecowas for putting sanctions on the coup makers. So one wonder that you are fighting for somebody and then the person is not seeing it. He feels that the coup makers, I don't know whether they are right or wrong, they violated the constitution of Mali. And these people too, the Burkina Faso has been suspended. They've been asked to bring or to free the deposed president and all that. All these things, I think that we don't even need to be sitting down with them to be negotiating.
Okay.
ECOWAS should use its might. The might alone would deter people from engaging in these illegalities.
Right. Saka, you mentioned that you were heaping praise on the president for the fact that whenever these things happen, these coups happen, he's able to condemn it in certain terms, and he speaks against them and all of that.
Not only speaking.
He condemns them.
Not only condemning. I mean, he leaves ECOWAS to take decisions, and sometimes he doesn't sit down and delegate. He goes himself.
Right. But
yes.
it is clearly evident that these actions by ECOWAS have not been enough to deter these countries from making coup d'etats. We saw Guinea a few months ago, and now Burkina Faso. Has ECOWAS done enough to deter or to prevent coup d'etats in general? Because it is one thing, coming to say that, okay, this coup that has happened here is not right, we are sanctioning you, we are suspending you and all of that. And one thing, making efforts to ensure that the coups don't even happen in this, in the first place. Prevention, they say, is always better than cure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you follow me very well, I've always said that ECOWAS has not done enough. That is the reason why it goes their activities, their inactivity had got other people on to also do coup. So I mean, there is no, what do you call it? The punitive measures that should be rendered to those who, the coup makers, are not there.
Is it only about punitive measures? Because my point is that it is one thing saying that, okay, we are going to punish you for making coups, so it means that that punishment will deter other people from doing the same. And it is another, making sure that the coup doesn't even happen at all. And it has got nothing to do with punishment in my estimation. You understand? If, for instance, we know the circumstances around which the coup that happened in Guinea happened. The fact that Doumbouya, the president at the time, had forced his way into a third tenure. He had, tampered with the constitution of the Guinean people, while these ECOWAS heads flagrantly watched for this to happen. Then after a group of people decided, okay, this illegality perpetrated by the president should warrant a coup d'etat, you come out and say that we are going to suspend them and all of that and blah 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 and punish them. How is that a solution to the problem?
Yeah, first of all, I think that I told you from the beginning that every coup can be justified. Every coup can be justified. Apart from the Guinea one, the other coups, it was not because of extension of tenure. So even if there is no extension of tenure, somebody can use some frivolous reasons to do coup. So sometimes I don't want to justify coups. If you begin to justify coups, and even the one that you think that there is justification for it, I don't think that it was illegally done. The extension of tenure, there was extension of tenure in Ivory Coast. It did not end up in coup d'etat.
But you know what is coming.
And I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm saying that what the president in Guinea, is it Conde, did, or everybody condemn it, but he used democratic means to do the extension. He did not sit. No, I'm coming. You are coming. Right. He did not sit in his office and legislate or vetoed that I will go for next. I will extend my term. It was the parliament of the sovereign nation that decided to toe his line.
Right.
And to that extent, Ecowas could not do anything. Ecowas cannot go and interfere with the internal happenings of another country. When the people themselves decided that we are extending our tenure. But we all know that the shenanigans that went on, because, I mean, if you have majority in parliament, or maybe if it's not an entrenched position, if that constitution in Guinea is not an entrenched position, and you just need parliamentary ratification of that clause, you just go and pass it. Parliament will go and pass it. ECOWAS cannot sit and say that what your parliament did is illegal.
Masaka, let me ask you a question. Right now, if President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we know that he has some 3 years for his tenure to expire. If he gets up and says that, look, I want to change the constitution and run for a third term as president, what signal would that send to the average Ghanaian? What signal would that send to the people of Ghana?
In our constitution, there are certain clauses.
And to you yourself.
No, you wait. In our constitution, there are certain clauses that are entrenched, certain clauses that are flexible, and there are certain laws or certain part of the constitution that you cannot even change. You understand what I'm saying? There are certain part of laws that the constitution itself says that you cannot do this or that. So if there is a clause in the constitution that says that Parliament cannot do A, B, C, D, and Parliament go ahead to do it, then that is unconstitutional. And therefore, if somebody get up or a group of people get up and do coup, I mean, there can be justification for it. But if Parliament says that if you want to extend the term of tenure of another a president, you have to pass through ABC procedure, because they know that one day there will be the need for extension. That is the reason why Parliament allows it. So if somebody is taking advantage of that, and then Parliament also decides to follow that, you cannot sit down and say that, why is Parliament doing it? You can go and argue your case that there is no need for extension, but if at the end of the day Parliament decides that they will do the extension, then you will follow it, because it is the constitution that everybody subscribes to. And once their acts did not offend the constitution, I don't think that there's a problem. But we all know what goes on and all those things. That's the reason why I'm saying that morally it was wrong for Alpha Conde to do that. And we all know that there would have been a lot of shenanigans, that would have taken place before such constitutional changes would have been done. So I am just saying, I don't want to belabor the point, that every Tom, Dick and Harry or non-entity can just get up and do coup. And he can get a very clean justification for it. But we said, and that is the reason why we decided that if you do coup, even if you have not even succeeded, or you even intended doing it, it's a criminal act. And that act is not just the crime is not just any offense. It is the highest crime of the land. High treason, punishable by death. So right. If that cannot deter somebody, and then the person will just get up and go and do coup, just because I fail. Failing so, the person failed. They have not been, the president has not been given the opportunity to defend his actions. But because of a feeling of a non-entity, a scumbag non-entity, then he will just go and then overthrow the government and then start, collecting the mic, and then the media will just, surround him like beehives. And then he will now be giving speech and here and there. So let's discourage all these things.
Right.
So that we can nip these ubiquitous coups that have plagued the sub-region in the bud.
Right. Thank you very much, Saka Sali. Alhaji Mohamed Naziru is the National Communication Officer, NDC Zongo Caucus. He's joined us here in the studios, and he'll share his thoughts on the Burkina situation. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Let me say a very big good morning to my colleagues. I have not seen Ajia for decades. As for Saka, I am actually angry with him. I was expecting that 5 years down the line, he would have been heading MPA or something. Then we see reward for hard work. But I'm not seeing it till date. And so I'm beginning to get angry with him.
No. Yes, exactly. He's not the one who...
The appointing authority...
He can't appoint himself.
The appointing authority appoints and reward hard work.
Oh, but he's working hard.
I want to believe you have to justify what I'm saying. I want to believe Saka has worked hard and he deserves to be appointed. So if he's not being appointed, it's a great disappointment for me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And, back to the issue of coups in this country. The issues of coups in this country is quite unfortunate that when my friend Saka was talking, he seems to be under the delusion that Ghana will not be experiencing such a thing, and to the extent that he was saying nobody in Ghana has such plans. But the government, their government, the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo government is prosecuting some people in court today for possessing tiger nuts and what do you call it, spanners and some little gadgets as attempting to overthrow the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So that defeats his delusion. We are in a serious crisis as we speak, as a sub-region. As a sub-region. When Mali is in crisis, the Gambia is in crisis, Burkina Faso is in crisis, Cote d'Ivoire is fragile, Ghana itself is fragile. I mean, it should tell you. Our sub-region is under a serious threat. Foreign interference is also coming in because the emergence of groups, I mean, have been described as militant all over the sub, even goes to compound the already fragile situation that Ghana is facing. It is important to mention also that when Ajia was talking, I had mentioned probity and accountability. The success or otherwise of probity and accountability has been proved with time. I mean, it has been largely successful. I remember way back Yahya Jammeh of Yahya Jammeh was of Gambia. Gambia. After the overthrow of the president then, as a result of similar situation that Ivory Coast is Cote d'Ivoire is facing, he rushed to Ghana, to the founder and leader of the Probity Accountability. Why did he do so? There is a reason he did that. We put that aside and take just as no. Everybody has his opinion, and the opinion is left for the viewers to digest and run into conclusions.
Some of them were
Do you understand? We take as recent as the issue of Mamadou Dambo, where after his overthrow, the entire team looked up to the concept, principle, and spirit of probity and accountability and showered it with praises. So over time, probity and accountability has succeeded irrespective of what people who are reservations about it would say. Time has tested and proven that probity and accountability did not also rule Ghana, where the family of the probity and accountability followers were ruling the country, like we are seeing today under a democratic government. We did not see the wanton abuse and corruption under the probity accountability like we are seeing today under a democratically elected government. The sale of public assets, as I speak to you, where is the Commanded Sugar Factory? Yes, the probity accountability under its regime, discard some public assets. As I speak to you, we revived the Commanded Sugar Factory. Where is it? Where is it today? The democratic government is looking for people to sell it. You are not concerned about that. And we still talk about probity and accountability and the success that it has brought. The democracy we are enjoying today The democracy we are enjoying today is the remnant of the probity and accountability, and nobody can question that. We can do any research and we will arrive at that. Nothing can stop that. That is the record of the probity and accountability, and we are very proud of it as Democrats today, and contributing to the political landscape of our country. You see, the situation in Burkina Faso is not different from the situation in many other countries in Africa, Ghana inclusive. If we begin to take power as though is an LSRC election, where whimsically and capriciously you can do anything you want, then you are breeding grounds for such people to react. Look, positive defiance, resistance is part of our constitution. It is part of the constitution of Burkina Faso, it's part of the constitution of many other African countries. If you begin to do things that is at variance with the constitution, people are entitled to defy your orders so that the constitution will be applied in doing everything. We are here today. The Parliament of Ghana has seen two brows as a result of an attempt to overthrow or turn down the constitution, the laws of the Republic of Ghana, to do what people's wills. Do you understand? And all this contribute to what we are seeing in Burkina Faso. So Ghana is not an exception. What I am worried about in the issue of Burkina Faso, so with Gambia and the rest, is the fact that I have been part of many promotions when the NDC was in power. We go outside of Ghana to, for road shows, sell and promote Ghana. We don't limit ourselves to the numbers we have in Ghana as a 40, 30 million people. We do, as a result of our inclusion and membership of Ecowas, we sell the Ecowas market for, the investor to see how bigger investing in Ghana is, and then will bring return to his investment. The exclusion of Burkina Faso has reduced those numbers. The exclusion of other countries, the two other countries, has certainly reduced those numbers. So it's certainly going to affect our attempts to also win investors. That is one major problem I have with the situations in those countries. And I want to believe that ECOWAS as a body should, with immediate effect, do what it can do to see to their inclusion, or seeing to resolve the problems in the various countries, so that the numbers that ECOWAS tout will continue to remain. We are now talking about the African Continental Free Trade Area, a very big advantage to every business person on the continent and in Ghana when we have the headquarters here in Ghana. We cannot talk businesses, we cannot talk development and talk returns on investment if we have such situations prevailing within the sub-region. I must also add that as a Democrat, I believe that the worst democratic system is better than the best military regime. I've come to that conclusion, and I understand that, and I believe if the democratic processes are followed to its latter, where laws are followed, then you will realize that it's been very, very much better than what we're experiencing today under some democratic dispensations, where whimsically and capriciously people are not concerned about the well-being of their people. You take the situation in Burkina Faso, for instance. What inspired the soldiers to get out on the street? It is basically the issue of neglect. They are fighting, insurgents who are well equipped with more sophisticated weapons, when the states, what they call security, are handicapped, and they are left every day to attack them, to face them, to defend the state. Under such circumstances, they feel that if the government comes to the understanding, the magnitude of the problem, then the government must do something different by equipping them, giving them the necessary morale, giving them the necessary incentives that would ensure they will continue to defend the country. They are not seeing that. They want to do it themselves, and let's see how it unfolds. It is wrong, but if the end result will make Burkina Faso one of the darling democratic countries, I think it has been the best, because the end justifies the means. That is my position.
Thank you very much,
Bless,
Alaji.
Bless. I won't let it pass. You see, when Alaji was coming, he didn't hear what I said. He didn't follow the conversation. He only had probity and accountability and just took it. and started running with it. I'm saying the soldiers will come and promise probity, accountability, civilians are corrupt, and then they'll come and do worse things, and it's true.
The worst thing that the democratically elected government of Nana Addo Dankwa and Bawumia are doing today, the probity and accountability.
But if I use the word probity and accountability, that is what I'm saying.
Right. Let's go for a short. With our return, we'll discuss Ghana's debt situation.
Well, the
It's a word.
Trasacco Estates, home to Accra's most beautiful and luxurious homes, presents its newest addition, Trasacco Springs, a premium master planned community of service plots surrounded by an exhaustive list of amenities. The gated community of Tema to Accra Motorway presents you the finest opportunity to own a land that suits your preferred size, budget, and payment terms. Trasacco Springs is open to you for development. Our on-site sales executives are ready. Call on 055 659 2658.
Right, welcome back from that show with us. Still watching your favorite morning show, the newspaper review. It's been an interesting morning here. We're talking about the Burkina Faso coup and the fact that the AU, the African Union, they have suspended them. But let's zoom our focus into Ghana's debt situation. I'll start with Saka Salia on this particular issue. So right now, Ghana's total public debt has continued to climb up, recording 344.5 billion Ghana cedi, or 58.2 billion US dollars, representing 78.4% of gross domestic product, that is GDP, at the end of November. Yes, 78.4% of GDP at the end of November 2021, compared with 341.8 billion Ghana cedi recorded at the end of September. So from September to November, we've recorded over 2 billion Ghana cedi increase as far as our debt is concerned. The external component of the debt portfolio was $27.9 billion, or 165.1 billion Ghana cedi, representing 37.6% of GDP. Of the total debt stock, the domestic debt was 179.4%, representing 40.8% of GDP. The government's medium-term debt management strategy proposes appropriate financing for the period 2022 to 2025, which sets out to achieve the following objectives: meet government's funding needs on a timely basis and at a relatively lower cost, subject to prudent levels of risk, promote the development of efficient primary and secondary markets, and pursue any other action considered to impact positively on the public debt stock. The financing for 2022 seeks to further develop the domestic market by proposing new instruments to diversify the debt portfolio and increase the debt financing capacity of the domestic market. Saka Salia, ever since this government assumed power, it is a statement of fact that you have borrowed more money as compared to all the past governments combined, an issue of grave concern, which I think it is to even the MPP as well. And the debt stock, it keeps rising. As of November of last year, we've seen the figures. We have 344.5 billion Ghana cedi now, as compared to 341.8 billion. It looks as though by the time your party will leave office, our debt stock could rise up to, let's say, 500 billion Ghana cedi or something.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Bless, thank you very much. I think it is so simplistic to say that, oh, you have borrowed more than all the past government combined. Let me just give you an example. In 2009, when the NDC took over power, they had borrowed, and up to the time they came out of power, or Ghanaians booted them out of power, they had borrowed more than all the past government put together 4 or 5 times.
So you want to outdo?
Oh no, what did I say for? More than 20 times.
So you want to outdo?
Oh
them?
no. I'm just explaining something. So don't just jump and say you want to outdo. No. You said a certain statement, and I'm saying that when the
you have your time.
Oh, why?
No, I just want to be in tune, in tandem.
Okay, so be in
so
tandem.
that's why I'm following.
Okay, then follow Kinley. So when the NDC took power, we had our debts to be 9 billion Ghana cedis. And by the time they came out of power, our debt had ballooned to 122. A percentage increase of 1,355%. Never in the history of this country have you ever seen that. NPP, as we are speaking, from 122, we have taken it to 344, which is a percentage increase of 281%. 281%, as against 1,355. So you can see that indeed the debt portfolio have increased, but it doesn't mean that it is unthinkable or it has never happened before. Secondly, when you grow an economy to a certain extent, you expect that you have liquidity circulating in the market and all those things. And how do you do that? If maybe your revenues are not matching up with your expenditure, and especially in Africa and in Ghana, where we don't pay taxes. About 2.4 or so of Ghanaians pay taxes, apart from indirect tax. Those that really pay tax, which to me is very abysmal.
In terms of Saka, I've always had an issue with that way of calculating the number of people who pay tax in Ghana. Like, I mean, aside the tax we pay on everything we buy and all of that, as indicated by the finance minister, 2-point-something%, right?
Yes.
They bear the total tax burden of the 30.8 million Ghanaians. But we shouldn't also take away the fact that of our population, there are about 30% of our population who are below 14 years who do not work. There are some of them who are above 70 years who do not work. And then we have the issue of unemployment to a good number of Ghanaians who do not work. So if you look at the number of people who work, our working population, and you compare it to the number of people who pay tax, I still agree to some extent that the figures is abysmal. But to calculate it as though
okay, so how do you want
everybody works?
No, how
it's I feel it's wrong.
No, wait. How do you want the figures to be calculated?
No, let's say you have a family of 10 people. Okay, the family of 10 people, 3 of them are babies. Ostensibly, babies do not work. Let's say with that family, you have your grandparents, 2 of them, they do not work. But you come out and say that only one person, only 2 people in that family bear the entire cost.
So is it a statement is it a statement of fact or wrong?
No, it is a statement of fact.
So
that
what's your problem now?
percent Ghanaians are But the other people, no.
So
not all of them are the working population.
No, but who said all of them are working?
Is it now that they have started, or even when he was making reference to the debt from 1940?
You understand? No, but Saka, I believe you understand me. Saka, I believe you understand me.
Let's not do banter here.
No, but you understand me.
No, I understand you.
Okay.
But it is an analysis that you will do. But don't say that the figure maybe is wrong. But you can do analysis and say that, oh, there's a justification for the figure.
No, but I mean that if
so,
you are stating the records, if the finance minister is stating, and I'm not faulting you for that, if the finance minister is stating the record, you should state the record straight. Let us know the other, reasons for which we have that 2.7%.
No, you understand? Be giving you the reasons.
And he also said that about 90% of the tax, it comes from Accra, which is also, in my estimation, to some extent wrong. It is to some extent wrong because you feel that all the businesses are here in Accra. The fact that the businesses are here in Accra doesn't mean that whatever tax is generated comes from Accra.
The person is telling you the tax generated comes from Accra, and you sit here without any empirical evidence.
No, I am telling you that. Let's say, for instance, Voltic, is based here in Accra. Let's say, for example, Voltic is based here in Accra. The fact that it is based here in Accra doesn't mean that everybody who consumes Voltic water is from Accra. There are people from other regions who consume Voltic water. They also contribute to the tax that Voltic Ghana pays. You understand? So it is wrong. It is wrong to assume that all 90% of there are people in Hajes village who drink Voltic. They also contribute. You understand?
No, I mean, I don't understand you. But
right.
You
can't proceed. You can't proceed.
So I was talking about the fact that we needed money to do so many things. Expenditure, it's always difficult to say that, to cut expenditure. For instance, the finance minister will come to parliament and then enumerate areas that needed to develop, maybe school, roads, and all those things. Then all of a sudden, because we have not gotten money, then you say that, okay, for Kumbungu, Adia City, you there, your road, won't do it again. No, or what? Our roads and all that won't do it again. I will not be happy. Adia will not be happy and all that. And then the country itself will not be happy. So you need, even though your revenue, there's a shortfall in revenue, your expenditure will have to remain. And even under COVID, it came with additional expenditure. Therefore, what do? You need to borrow to meet with the expenditure, and that is the reason why sometimes you borrow. I'm saying all these things because if you look at our borrow, even the rate of borrowing, I mean, somebody will say that, oh, don't be comparing yourself with the NDC because that is the reason why they booted them out of power. But they are still talking. You see, the people that they say we should not compare ourselves to them, they are still talking. If they were not talking, then we will not have problem with them. But once they talk there, we have to prove to Ghanaians that despite all the problems that confront us, we are still better managers of the economy than 100 times than the NDC. Everybody knows that. I have always been reiterating this point, that the Economic Intelligence Unit, when they did their analysis of both the 2016 and 2020 elections, they said that when it comes to the economy, if Ghanaians were to use the economy to vote, that the MPP will win. Because when it comes to the economy, MPP are better managers of the economy. And these are not just Ghanaians. These are international recognized bodies. Even the IMF themselves, they all came to that realization and all that. For the first time that we have been downgraded. Do you know that under the NDC we were downgraded several times? But it became news under MPP.
Tell him to stop.
It became, oh please, can you let me talk? It became news under the MPP because it is a strange happening. And we all know the reason why it is so. That Fish and other rating agencies, Moody and then Standard & Poor, even they have not even come out with theirs. But I'm saying with all these things, it's because of the debt level. And when we are talking about the debt level of countries, we are not alone in this soup. Like I was even saying in the first time, the first submission that I made, the United States of America debt to GDP over 120%. We are hovering around 78. And I will continue to say this, that when we took over power from the NDC, before the rebasing economy, the debt to GDP under the NDC was 74%. 74%. And now,
I contest that.
And
you have your time. Don't worry.
You need to also know. My time is for the use of what I also want to say.
So when you are also talking, I can you
have your time?
2017.
Our
debt to GDP was 70.
Kindly, Saka.
I am saying that. But wait a second,
If you want to talk to me,
no, I'm
saying Saka.
I am saying
your own finance minister.
Oh, Master, you say this guy just. I know.
Saka, can you?
I know your modus operandi. He just to disrupt you. He's not making any point.
Proceed.
He's not just making any point. He just want to talk.
Well, I don't intend to make any point.
I just want to disrupt.
But the point I'm making is
that
your own finance minister.
But what
figures?
Alaji, if you may, respect.
What did he say?
Tell me that.
No, Saka.
What did he
say? Saka.
That is what you said.
Saka.
Finance minister.
Saka.
Not you. Who took
Saka. Can you have the floor? You have 3 minutes.
Not making any point.
You have 3 minutes.
Just talking.
You have 3 minutes. Kindly.
I'm saying that when we took over power from the NDC, debt to GDP, anybody can go and check it. And I use my words very carefully. I said before rebasing, it was 74% of GDP. Nobody on earth can challenge me on this.
Before?
Oh, what are you talking about? and then somebody will say that, okay, why are you saying before rebasing? After rebasing, it reduced to about 58 or so. And I always say that I will not talk about rebasing or figures. I will always talk about the figure as at the time that you hand over power. Because this figure that we are talking about, the MPP figure of 78, today, if we hand over power to ourselves or to anybody, and then maybe in 5 years' time, and then the economy is rebased, that figure will also reduce. So there will be a lot of confusions here and there. So I will always take the figure, because even the NDC figure of 74 was also a rebased figure in 2006.
Which is which? We need to understand.
In 2006.
A rebased figure or a figure before rebasing?
No. Saka, those who understand me know what I'm talking about.
I don't understand.
So try. Try.
My brain is weak.
I don't know whether what you are saying is true.
Because I don't understand.
So I'm saying this because after 78, it is not something that is out of the roof. Taking into consideration the situation, the pandemic that we find ourselves. And if we are talking about what did we use the money for, we have all seen development. We've seen that even in terms of development, we have grown this economy better and far better than the NDC. And indeed, you have given him 2 minutes, 1 minute. So, but in terms of the growth of the economy, when NDC was governing us, they were growing the economy, an oil-rich economy, partly 3.4%. In 2017 when we took over power. From 2017, we grew the economy by 8.1, the next year 6.2, then the next year 7, and all that. So if you take the average for 4 years before COVID, average of 7% growth of the economy. And it was as a result of the fact that there was a lot of money that we engineered into the economy, leading to development such as the planting for food and jobs that created a lot of jobs. The first year about 750,000, the second year 900,000. Then we have the one village, one dam. I don't want to go there. Look at even the free SHS.
Right.
All this is, look at even in terms of even infrastructure.
Right.
Look at the number of interchanges that we have. Look at the roads that we have done and all that. And then somebody will come and say that, what did you do with the money that you borrowed?
Right. Thank
what
you very
did
much,
NDC do
please,
with the
you
money
have
that
the
they
floor.
borrowed? They should also tell us.
It is important to say that the issue about our economy today has not been left for the discourse of political players. Every right and citizen should be concerned where this government is driving us to. It is a matter of fact, repeatedly, said by key players of the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration, to the extent that if they don't even get the e-levy, this country will plunge into chaos. Our economic situation will be worse. So it's a fact. We are not running away from it. The country's economy has a problem. As if that is not enough, we were told just a few days ago that the international rating organizations have begun to underrate. The effect is that even those who are confident and can pump in, funds or cash into your economy to sustain it are being warned that Ghana today is making a B negative with a negative outlook. Very, very, very serious issue. And it is serious under the leadership of Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, who has touted himself as the most wonderful economist who can boldly, outside of the field, call someone incompetent for running the economy the way it was run under the John Dramani Mahama administration. So clearly, we have a lot of things to bite under these circumstances, with the target going straight to Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. We can see, without doubt, that the president himself, can be a president, and all that he has started before he became president, now that he's president, and if he finishes his term, is the issue of free SHS. All about the economy was left for Bawumia. They've touted it and said it's time without number. Now, we begin to take Bawumia's own words in assessing an economy. I was very happy when my friend raised the issue of rebased and coal. You see, we all agree that Bawumia's position, when the economy was rebased and they were giving us a debt to GDP ratio of over 62-65%, Bawumia put it, quote unquote, dangerous situation for the country's economy. He said, he went further to say that the country has gone back to epic with that status. If we are going to judge this economy, indeed, when the economy was rebased, it wasn't even 62%. At its rebased economy, as I speak to you now, the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo administration, for which Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia is the head of, the head of economic management team, is making 83% in when it comes to debt to GDP ratio. 83%. Yes, I'll prove to you. I'll prove to you.
It's 78%.
They are making, so let's even assume it's 78.
Don't assume it is 78.
If 62 before rebate,
your own was 74, not 62.
78 points, I think 4. So
Your own was
I'm
74.
saying that today, as we speak, don't forget that no less a person than the former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has accused this Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo administration for spending outside of gate mix. When I say gate mix, I mean the Ghana Integrated Financial Management System, where everybody and every auditor can clearly determine how this government has spent. This government is spending outside of it. Nobody has come to deny. No. Nobody has come to deny this part. As I speak to you,
we denied it.
These figures of 300 and something millions of cedis that they are pointed out as debt does not include the extra 9.3 billion. It doesn't include it. It does not include the Dachi loan that they want to take of 2.4 billion. It does not also include the Sino-Hydro that they were talking about. They touted and said 30 million Sino-Hydro is not part of this. So if you add all this, the money that this government owe as of now is going to shoot from what they are saying to a little over, let me say, 357 billion.
It's a butter.
To a little over 357 billion.
They haven't given
which
our
will
money.
move the debt to GDP ratio to a little over 83%. That is the current situation.
That's your
I want you sitting here to sit boldly and defend your government and say that yes, this government, what John Dramani Mahama said was a lie.
It's a lie.
Is not spending out.
It's a flagrant
lies. Then we can miss him. And I'm saying that these are the figures. Deny these figures.
I'm denying the figures.
Then put out your figures and let me see where these figures are.
I am saying that.
I said put out the figures that made the 300 something and let's see where these figures come in.
It's a better arrangement.
You see, the problem with the economy is not just that it's in tatters. The fact that the government, is looking for ways to throw dust into the eyes of the people is governing by churning out numbers that do not even exist is the bigger worry. I am very sure that moving forward, Fitch would also come out with it, ratings, and other, ratings that give you the B negative, I guess. Yeah. So, I mean, most others will come with theirs. And as time goes, we'll see the real picture of our economy. The fact is, as I speak to you, if you want to judge the economy and see the progress to the ordinary Ghanaian and the expenditure of government and how it will inure to the benefit of the ordinary Ghanaian, you take a typical example of the Ameri. Yes, you have touted the fact that we are borrowed to the tune of what? or about 1,000% more than the previous government. One of the things we have left is Ameri. Ameri is there today generating over 30 billion for the country annually. Today, that is the profit that Ameri is bringing to Ghana. I want to ask the MPP man representing Baumia and Nana Akufo-Addo and the entire MPP here, they should give me one project similar to the Ameri that will recoup money in the next 5 years for us. That will recoup money in the next 5 years for us. They should give me similar of such. We borrowed money. Out of the money we borrowed, we did the Etuabo gas project. Today, Ghana is not flying a single gas. We are using our gas to the benefit of the country and we're exporting some as a result of the investment we did with the Etuabo gas project. It should give me an example of one like a Etuabo gas project that they have done with the amount of money they have taken. The American looks at the presidency and look at how ostentatious the president is becoming. I mean, it's not a matter of doubt that if a country cannot account for the president travel, we've asked the Ministry of Defense, we've asked the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we've asked everyone that we could ask, and in Parliament, not just on TV and radio, up to date, nobody has been able to give us president itinerary, travels and cost. We are yet to ascertain whether the the presidential aircraft we have that other presidents have been using in other countries that our president has refused to use because it does not have befitting bathroom. It's laughter. If you begin to think about the issues and how this government is running this country, you get angry. Why I say so is that our aircraft that we have bought with our money, that the Ghanaian taxpayer is part of the debt that you accused the previous administration of. You are not using it. You are giving it to other.
Kufuor bought it.
Kufuor bought what?
Kufuor bought that jet, not you. So you go on.
I said you have accused other administrations.
Yes, you said it's part of. Yeah, I mean,
Kufuor's administration is not other administration. I think you begin to have to listen very well. You have to begin to listen very well what I said.
Kufuor government.
You
rather accuse Kufuor for buying it.
Well, you see, if we want to go on that tangent, he would disrupt me, but we have a lot to say.
But I wouldn't have interrupted you.
What I am saying is that the fact that as we speak today, of all the money that this administration has borrowed, there's not a single project that we can hinge on and say that this would give us reward out of the things you have done for us whilst in government. Not a single project. Putting a challenge on my friend here from the MPP to give us some examples of the Etuabo gas project, like I said, of the Commander Sugar Factory, for instance, the reviving of the Kumasi Shoe Factory, and many others that we have done with the monies that we have borrowed. As we speak also, ordinary Ghanaian is beginning to ask the question that this government has accrued a lot. You know, the accruals for this government is enough. Even when you make reference to the coronavirus, you cannot run away from the 34 billion US dollars that we got externally in support for the coronavirus pandemic, just so we will not get ourselves into problems. We cannot talk about the 200 million that was taken out of the stabilization fund. The stabilization fund, remember, is part of the legacies of the John Dramani Mahama, what do you call it, Mills administration. You have gone back to taking that money in support of your programs for or during the COVID-19
fund is meant for that.
All these things were there, and you have used it. You cannot go back to coronavirus and say it is because of the coronavirus that the economy is in tatters. The economy is in tatters long before the coronavirus, what do you call it, emerged. So we cannot depend on coronavirus and say things so that we hide our incompetence. It is a fact that when Baumia was calculating debt to GDP and he said it is over 60%, Ghana is in hipping. Today, we are calculating GDP to debt ratio is over 80%. Nobody is telling us our status. I think we've gone beyond hipping. We are now finished. The country is finished. For that matter, there is the need for government to show to Ghanaians the roadmap going forward in the next 3 years. How we are going to recoup most of the money that has been spent, how we are going to invest to ensure the future generation would have something to lean on so that they can pay these debts that we are leaving to them. Or else, it is a big disaster. Alhaji Baumia has failed us. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has failed us. This NDC administration has failed us. The fact that they have failed us is not a matter for me from NDC to say, but the market woman in the market, do you understand? The market woman in the market is saying that the situation today is worse than they have experienced for the past 30 or 40 years. The situation today to the teacher whom Alhaji Baumia was concerned about is worse. Most of them are sitting home. The university lecturers are at home. Secondary school teachers are on one strike or the other. Primary teachers are on one strike or the other. Every sector, if you go to the health sector, is the same. Every place is in tatters. Right. We need to ensure that this government is held accountable to account for all that has been accrued to them and show us the roadmap, the way forward, how we are going to recoup all this money and ensure that future generation will not be burdened with their negligence and ineptitude.
Thank you very much. Let me come to Hachia.
You said NDC government has
Bless. You see, I still hold the same position when we started talking about the economy. We are a country that imports every single thing. We import everything. What do you expect? What do you expect? If we don't look at the economy in such a way that we try as much as we can to produce. Look at this benchmark
value
that the government wanted to remove, and then some noise, and then it brought it back. Some people are still saying that we should take it out. Because when we do that, we are depriving our local industry from growing.
Right.
Especially rice production. Go to Abeime. Go to Fumbisi. Rice is there in abundance. But we're not even consuming our own product. How do we expect our economy to grow or to stabilize our Ghana city? So for me, until we go the Kwame Nkrumah way, industrialization, producing our own thing, these two political will still talk about debt being increased. The UK is about one or something to GDP. But why are they not shouting? Because they're managing the economy well. The banks are borrowing as low as even 1%. And our banks are borrowing about 20-something to 30%. So how can our businesses grow? So we'll continue to borrow. We're not putting systems in place that we can sort of generate money internally. In 2008 or something, I was in the house. Then a gentleman just came that he's collecting property rates. And I said, property rates. Why? Where is your destiny? How much? So I looked at the document. You could see there's a private company. Now, if they take about 80 Ghana cedis, only about 30 or 20 Ghana cedis will go to the government. Why? Why? If we're talking about only Accra that we get more tax, then which means other district assemblies and MMD, they are not working. Because Bolga Market Day, Walwali Market Day, Kintampo and Tichima, they are all big markets that we can even get revenue from. Because the rate at which we are borrowing, if we are not careful, it will be dangerous for this country. Why are we not talking about producing our own toilet roll, matches? All the factories that Nkrumah built are still there. You see, there's no shortcut in anything.
Oh, they sold the factories.
The what?
People sell them. They sold the factories.
No, some of them are there. Look at the pencil factory in Kumasi. It's there. But if you buy pencil today, it's made in China. We're a country or a continent of always importing. So by all means, every day we'll come and argue who borrowed more than the other. The market woman or the business person is not thinking about that. Yeah. How he or she will get the funds to maybe buy the produce that he or she is selling in the market. Because most of the times, these business people, they change dollar to go and buy their goods outside. By the time they come, then the dollar has shot up. Before you sell and change again, you cannot buy the quantity of this. Simple economics. That's how economics understand. And it's a purchasing power. If everybody in Ghana, even if government is borrowing, we see the effects of the borrowing. One can go to hospital and pay his or her bills. Rent is okay. And then electricity. Now I learned electricity is going up.
Yeah.
Meter that is 700 Ghana cedis is going for 1,920, according to what I read in the media. According to what I read, but if it's going, how many percentage? My math is not very good.
100%.
You see. So what can we do as a country? Let's sit down, CPPO, MPPO, and all of us. I think it is high time we sit down and say enough is enough. What can we do for our economy to be back on track? By cutting down expenditure and producing more. Rice farmers are crying because most of their produce are there. People are not buying. We've allowed Vietnamese and Chinese products, even tomatoes.
Thailand,
you see, it's good to open your markets a bit. But if you open it in such a way that it does not inure to the local manufacturers or local business people, then it is a problem. We'll continue to say this is 1,000-something%, this is 70-something%, but Ghanaians are those who are feeling the pinch. So what can we do? Me bless, I don't want, because me, I'm not an economist. I'm not an economist. What I understand is my purchasing power. What I can buy with my 100 Ghana cedis today. Can I buy the same thing tomorrow or tomorrow next? In fact, it is serious. We should all understand that. To me, the economy, as people want us to understand, I'm not sure it is being managed well. At all, it is not being managed well. Because if you took over about 70, let's say even 70%, and now we are 78-point-something%. When we talk, they say COVID. COVID, we have some monies from US and other places. So maybe let's look at what we are not doing right. And for me, we are importing more than exporting. And then the expenditure too is a bit high. Look at this Article 71 holders. They are consuming everything. They are consuming. You see, we cannot say a constitution was written under a rigid regime. And then we like one part and we don't like the other parts. You understand? If it comes to Article 71, people, nobody is talking or making a lot of noise. How can parliamentarians, after 4 years, you take ex gratia every 4 years? By all means, we'll borrow more. unless we stop all this, our economy, and for that matter, the borrowing will continue. It will continue. It's getting scary. We have to be honest and sincere with ourselves. It's getting scary. But what is the solution? Now we should be looking at solutions, because whether you compare NDC record or MPP record and what have you, if you go to buy commodities, they won't ask you, are you MPP? Then they will sell it high for you because your government is in power, and CPP low or NDC low. No, we are all buying the same fuel. And I learned today, 1st February, the fuel too is going up. Let's put system in place to curb corruption. Let's tighten the loose ends, because we are being told that, I don't know whether it is part of our the gold under this thing of gold, and we are losing about $8 billion, and we'll go and borrow maybe $2 billion or something to come and put it in our economy. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. So anybody, whether it is MPP who will continue, CPP will take over, and this thing, still we will all face problems when we don't look at the root cause. When we don't look at the root cause. Because we've opened our market, rice are just coming. We don't even know how many years they've spent in their silos, wherever. And we have fresh rice from Aveyime, Fumbisi, and the rice production this year, it has gone very high, and then we have it.
We spent some $1.2 billion on the importation.
On importation of rice.
Annually.
At first, you remember it was some 600 million. We're complaining, it came to 800, and now 1.something billion. Why can't we grow our own food that we can eat? We import tomatoes, cabbage, everything. We don't even know what is being done to the tomatoes and cabbage that we import from other countries. Meanwhile, I'm an anti-GMO person, because if you go to the advanced world, you go to the shop, they write organic, GMO. You have the choice, but it is mixed up here. We don't even know which is GMO or which is organic. So I think this argument about this economy, where this person borrow more than this, the bottom line is we should look internally, produce more, revamp some of the industries that Nkrumah built. It will create employment, because without people are employed, they will pay tax,
right?
And we'll get revenue. But how many youth are just rioting around the street of Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, all over? They can't even make ends meet. So let's look at that, because as for the borrowing, if we don't do the right things, we'll continue to borrow. As I said, look at our banks, the percentage of interest that they are charging ordinary customers. And how can they use that same money to produce more and even make a profit?
Right.
Why is it that our banks cannot give us loans without this huge interest? Is it the risk involved? Now there's digital address. If you are going, they will take everything, they will capture everything of yours, so nobody can run away. You know, yesterday when I went to register my SIM, even your fingers, they take everything. So now they are doing it in such a way that nobody can escape anything. You understand? So I think we should build our economy. Let's localize everything. And this foreign taste, the foreign taste, somebody will come to your house, you cook Ghana rice. Oh, Ghana rice then, even Ghana rice. We call what we say gumi. In the north, my father was a serious farmer. All the rice that we're eating in the house were from his farm. But we have a generation that are interested in perfume rice. I don't know whether they put perfume on it, and you are consuming it. We should look at the economy again and try and help look. Before I finish, last week they interviewed a man who helped Nigeria to succeed in their rice production. Based in Ghana, who is tapping his expertise? Who is tapping it? He's an MPP man. He's your man.
Yeah, he was a former member of parliament. So
yes, former member of parliament.
Yeah,
who is tapping his expertise? You are planting food for food and job. It will create job, because he spoke about the year he started. Like even if we had started in 2000 in this country, or even 204, would have had what Nigeria has got now. Because the farmers were ready to listen. Government was ready to help with it. That is his 3 stages. He explained everything. I watch him on TV. If you have this kind of asset, and we are not tapping his expertise, for us to have rice production in this country should go up,
Even
and then we'll be able to even export, because some of the sub-region, they cannot even grow rice. We can also even give them export substitution. What do Togo have and we don't have? I'm just setting an example because I don't actually know what Togo has in terms of when you come to agriculture sector. Burkina Faso, I know they have tomatoes and what have you. Niger, there's Coup, or they don't have any food, or it's Mali.
No, it's Mali.
Niger, that's where we have the onions. You see, so I think there's something we are not getting right, not just as Ghanaians, but in the sub-region, for that matter, in Africa, that we have to look at trading amongst ourselves. Salt.
I'll give you 2 minutes each.
People will go
I'll check my time.
to Brazil,
2 minutes each. A minute each.
And buy salt. Nigeria, most of the chemical industry needs salt. Is it that we don't have that kind of salt in Ghana? At least we should try as much as we can and do things that will to the benefit of Ghanaians.
Right. Thank
Because
you very much.
if our transportation system is working well, our health system, and I'm telling you, Ghanaians take more than 70% of their earnings in food. Check the record. Because food items have gone up. We should look at the ordinary Ghanaian. That's why the people up there like Saka and my brother Alaji, they are already up there. What about us ordinary Ghanaians who have not tasted power since 1992?
Right. Yes, Saka. Yeah. Just a minute.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, when Naziru was talking, he said, "Oh, they built a trouble and all those things. We should tell them what we have done." I won't tell you what we have done, but I will explain to you. There are trouble that you talk about. NPP government led by J. Kufuor actually started to build that gas. The NDC government came. We had given it to even the Japanese. The contract was given to the Japanese. They came because of petty politics. They decided to take it away. And even where to cite it became a problem. I remember. So, if we had built it, you expect NPP to come and build another one to add? No. You talk of Amiri and Car Power. Look, they contracted it. But the payment, well, Amiri, we had to pay her until after 5 years or 6 years, then it became ours. It just became ours just last year. NPP government paid for Amiri and those things that you talk about. So if we are paying for something, why do you go and bring another one and start paying double? You use your mouth to contract it for us to come and pay. Secondly, you talk about stabilization that John Dramani Mahama doesn't know anything about. Right. Wait, let me finish.
No,
I'm finishing.
I gave you time.
He doesn't know anything about the stabilization fund. The stabilization fund is part of when we discovered the oil. We came out with the oil revenue.
Who came out with it?
Oh, listen.
Who came out
the
with
Oil
it?
Revenue Management Act. The Oil Revenue Management Act, which was promulgated in 2011. 2011, John Dramani Mahama was not the president of Ghana. And therefore, you decided to jump Professor Mills. You decided to jump Professor Mills and then give the glory to John Dramani Mahama.
No, but I give the glory to the
stabilization fund.
Right.
The stabilization fund. The reason for the stabilization fund is to shore up budget a shortfall. So the stabilization fund is meant for what it was used for.
Right. Thank you very much.
You talk about
right.
He's been able to.
Is he?
Alaji. No, Saka can't.
Right. Let me end with the
Alaji.
Let me end with
no. Saka, please.
These people were giving you tag 500 Ghana cedis. We are giving you tag.
No, Saka,
8,000.
Saka, respectfully. Alaji, you have the floor.
$1,600.
UTAG is there to justify that. Since UTAG was established, if you remember the Mobrowa days, where Idrisu and Co were on campus and stuff like that, Honorable You remember, since that time, we saw steady decline in student agitations. The things that were put in place include when Prof. Mills was implementing the single spine salary structure, which John Dramani Mahama as his vice president, go and ask any university professor that since Ghana was created, if they have had, benefit as an allowance, as in huge sums of money done under the Mills and I'm coming down under the Mills and Mahama administration. So that is no. Right. Another thing that is void is the fact that he's been able to espouse to what all the things the stabilization fund is all about, but he has not been able to point to us example of what they have done to that regard to prove to Ghanaians that the money they have taken. But if I round it up, please, if a second, we'll round it up. Your issue with benchmark value. Benchmark value was as they want it to be now. Before they came to power, they came to remove it. We don't know if they want to protect the local industry. If they indeed believe in one district, one factory, why then did they remove the benchmark value and now they want to bring it back again?
Thank you.
This government's a bunch of.
Thank you. I'm listening to you.
What?
Turn off their microphones.
We put benchmark value. We are reducing.
When the MPP came
to
power,
it wasn't reduced to power.
What the president promised.
You trying to reduce it, and now you want to put it back again.
Empowerment, and he promised us that he will make sure they pass the affirmative action bill, and they are in their 5th to 6th year.
Right.
So I want to ask President Nana Akufo-Addo when they are going to pass the affirmative action bill. Why am I asking this question? Because NGO like Jensen, he promised us. He promised us, so he should make sure his parliamentarians do the right thing. You understand? And then we are having a program tomorrow, a capacity building, talking about problems that are affecting the participation of young women in politics, organized by Jensen, Auntie Esther, Tewia, good morning, and then we'll be there tomorrow to support her.
Right.
But you see, if the affirmative action bill had been passed, I'm not sure we'll be talking about all this issue about women, especially young women, not participating in politics. So Nana Akufo-Addo, our president,
you should do the needful.
Please. FOSDA are watching, Abantu are waiting, Net Right are waiting, because the promise you promised the women of this country, that is one of your priorities, and we want the affirmative action bill passed by Parliament.
Right. Thank you very much, Haja. Thank you, Isaka Salia. Thank you, Alhaji Mohammed Nazir. It's been another interesting discourse here on the show for God and Country. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.